Hello and welcome to the new video. If this is your first time here, my name is Hannah and today I'm hoping you'll stay with me and read the Poppy Wars trilogy with me. Right, so I have already read book one of the Poppy War series, which was called The Poppy War, in a previous vlog, and here's the clip of my final thoughts of that book. I have finished reading The Poppy War by Rebecca Kuang. I heard that this book is really good, but I didn't actually expect that this unexpectedly has become one of my favorite books of the year and definitely one of my favorite books of all time, and I will be recommending this to people, and I hope that someone someday will create a series for us to watch, or I don't know, or a movie or something, because I feel like it would be such an amazing epic story to tell visually as well, and not only as a book. Highly recommend this. If you haven't read this already and you like fantasy, definitely give it a go. I am so into the story of Rin and everybody else. I just cannot wait to see what happens next. So after the success of the first book, I have decided to continue with the series. I usually get book one, listen or read to book one, and then I decide whether I want to continue or not. On this occasion, I decided, hell yeah, I want to continue with the series. I absolutely loved book one, and after the success of that first one, which I have listened via audio through my library app, I have ordered the whole trilogy, and now I have these books in my possession. So book two in the Poppy War trilogy is the Dragon Republic, and this is the book that I will be reading next. Fingers crossed it's going to be as good as book one. I have not got an audiobook for this, so I will be reading this physically. This book has 654 pages, so it is a big one. I don't know how long it's going to take me. Book three is of a similar size and similar page count, so let's see how it goes. For now, in this vlog, we are reading The Dragon Republic by R.F. Kuang. Hello, my god, I come home not long ago. It's dark already. I was doing a shift that starts at 8:20 and I left my house at 6:50 because I want to avoid traffic. If I leave anytime after 7 o'clock, then that's it, I'm stuck in traffic. So I went early and I got to work in about half an hour, and I was literally sitting at work for an hour before I even started, and then coming back home it took me bang on an hour, and it's just, traffic's just crazy. I absolutely hate the shifts when it comes to like traffic wise and getting to and from work and stuff, but I did feel okay today at work. I think I just need slightly later start, at least for this week. I was listening to this book as an audiobook, and I DNF'd it today. I just got so bored. I don't know. It was so bloody boring, honest to God. I really wanted to like this book because it was a recommendation from John, from my friend from work, but I didn't like it. I DNF'd it at 60%, I think page 179 or something like this. I was just like, I can't listen to this anymore. Also the audiobook that I had, it just felt so outdated and so I don't know, just not engaging and not interesting at all. Sorry, I'm kind of looking up there because my light is so shit in here, and I know the quality of this clip is probably rubbish. So yeah, it's a DNF for Benedict Jacka, Fated. Had dinner. My gosh, the food from Wingstop is so good. If you've never tried it, have a go if it's near you. We actually ordered, and the restaurant is quite far, so we had to pay a little bit extra for delivery, but it was so worth it. I didn't want to cook today. I kind of fancied a really nice burger. It was so good. I didn't tell you, I actually had a couple of audiobooks from the library. One I've listened to yesterday, and the other one I've listened to today. The one I've listened to yesterday was When Among Crows by Veronica Roth. What convinced me to pick this book up is the fact that it's based on Slavic legends, and myself being Polish, I grew up listening to the legends about rusałkas, like a mermaid kind of thing, but in Poland we call them rusałka, and then legends about zmoras, and legends about strigas and stuff like that. So when I kind of heard that this book was about zmoras, and you know, that was kind of like, for me, it was like, yeah, I'm gonna read this. In Poland we have this story that zmora is this woman that climbs through the window at night and sits on your chest and strangles you and takes your breath away. When Among Crows was mostly about zmoras, and I was so excited when I heard that, but then turns out it wasn't about zmoras like I thought it was going to be. One of the books in the Swan Soldier series, it's a duology by Kiefer, I think it was What Feasts at Night. That was about zmora as well, and that was about this woman that would come and sit on their chest and strangle them. So this one, I kind of expected a similar thing, but it wasn't that. There was one girl that was a zmora. There was other zmoras as well in there, but she was kind of working in, she was cooperating with this other guy that's supposed to be Polish, or his parents were Polish or something like that. It was all happening in Chicago, and he was a member of this holy order that was basically getting rid of all the monsters and creatures and stuff like that. He felt guilty about being this person, and he wanted the Baba Yaga to remove this curse. So it was kind of like the story of getting to Baba Yaga and how the Zmora Ala, she was helping him, and you know, the story was interesting, but I think what really annoyed me in this book, I have to say, I listened to an audiobook. Maybe my experience would be different if I actually read it physically, but I listened to an audiobook, and my rating for this was as per audiobook. So this person, this guy, can't even remember his name, he was Polish, and there was few times that he was saying stuff in Polish. And my problem with this book was that the person didn't know how to pronounce Polish. Polish language, Polish words are quite difficult to pronounce. This is not an easy language to learn. The narrator in this book, the way he was saying those Polish sentences, I literally, myself being a Polish speaker, a native Polish speaker, I literally had no clue what he was saying. I had to go back and listen to it again and again, and I still didn't know what he was saying. So this is kind of my biggest problem with this book, that I think they should have used a person that actually can speak Polish to say these sentences, because it would make a little bit more sense. As a story, like I said, it was okay. It's not what I expected, and I think the only thing that saved this book in my eyes is the fact that the story was okay. I rated it 2 stars. Maybe if in the future I decide to reread it, if it's available in the library as a physical copy, maybe I will change my rating. But for now, as an audiobook, to me, is a 2-star book. Today, there was another library book I had. It was a middle grade book, Infested, by Angel Louise Colon. And I read this for my horror bingo board, because look at the cover. The cover is beautiful. It's covered in cockroaches, and one of the bingo board horror bingo prompts is creepy crawlies, and for the hard mode, the creepy crawlies have to be on the cover as well. So that was available in the library. So I was like, oh, let me check this out. And it was a young adult, or even like a middle grade horror. I'd say for like teenagers, 13, 14, 15. And in the beginning, I kind of didn't know what to expect from this book, but I actually really enjoyed it. The story was of this boy, Manny. Him and his family, his stepdad, his mom, and his sister, they moved from San Diego to New York because the stepdad gets a job as a building manager, and they get a free accommodation, and Manny is supposed to go to university or college in the following year. So they're thinking, by living in a free accommodation, they will be able to save some money. So they move into this apartment block, and they have this apartment, and they kind of have to get the building ready. So they're doing a lot of cleaning and everything, and Manny is helping as well. So if you can hear my son, apologies, he's playing his FIFA game. So Manny is doing a lot of cleaning jobs, and he discovers that they have an infestation of cockroaches, and it kind of goes creepy and it goes weird from there, because this is not your normal infestation. Literally, this book will get under your skin. It was so good. There's other things, but for me, the fact that this was all about those cockroaches, and it was a middle grade book, but the descriptions literally made my skin crawl. I felt like, I hate cockroaches. I absolutely hate cockroaches and any bugs and creepy crawlies. So any books like this literally give me the creeps. Cockroaches, rats, spiders, worms, slugs. I hate them. So bug horror like this really, really creeps me out. And I rated this book 4 stars. I didn't actually expect that my rating will be so high. If you are looking for a good, enjoyable book to fill out your horror bingo prompt, creepy crawlies, on a hard mode or the easy mode, whichever, definitely have a go with this one, because it was actually really good. I really enjoyed it. The narration was good, the story was good, the characters were very likable. There was a lot of friendship, and how they were supporting each other. And yeah, so I really enjoyed it and I highly recommend it. Or this month, my goal is to finish certain series. So I was actually thinking I might create a series spreadsheet, because I think it would be so much easier for me to keep track on what series I actually have, what I started, if I DNF'd any, or if I'm continuing. So I think it's going to be a cool idea. So I see how it goes. I still want to read tonight. I'm reading the Dragon Republic and I'm enjoying it. And oh, did you see my belly? I'm literally blabbing. I have been waffling on for 14 minutes, so I think I need to go. I'm gonna finish what I'm doing here and then sit down and read my book. That's it, and I will see you later or whenever. You probably have had enough of me anyway, so good night. I'll see you later. I got so pissed off today. I've ordered some books from Vinted and I was really looking forward to getting them, and turns out they sent me a different set of books, not the ones that I've ordered. So now I don't know what the person's gonna do. Is she gonna she said she's gonna arrange a return and send me my books that I've ordered. So I believe my books went to someone else, which is a little bit of a poop situation, because I don't know, it just sucks, you know, it just sucks. But my gosh, let me tell you, right? So I literally just come home from work. I'm changing. I need to do laundry as well. So I think I'm gonna, sorry, I need to get through my basket and stuff. So anyway, I can tell you while I'm sorting out my laundry. So I finished listening to This Wretched Valley. The cover is on the screen. I can't remember the author. And what a great book. I heard mixed reviews and mixed opinions about this book, but I actually swallowed it. It was so good. So it's kind of like a survival horror, survival / paranormal. There's a group of people that go into this undiscovered part of the woods in Kentucky. One of them is a geologist. Hold on, let me sit down. So one of these guys, he is a geologist. So he's writing his dissertation for his PhD, and with his friend Tabitha, they're flying over this area in an airplane, and he's using a laser to scan the area underground for the, you know, different like hills and rocks and whatnot. And he discovers something that hasn't been seen before. No one's discovered this kind of like a rock face before. And he gets excited and he invites 3 more people to go with him to discover this rock. There's a botanist, Sylvia, that goes with them, and another 2 people are Dylan and Luke. And Dylan is an actual climber. She's an athlete signed by Petal, you know, the company that, like, when I think Petal, I think head torches and stuff. So they do that kind of stuff, and so they all go to discover this rock, and they kind of wander around in these woods, and it feels like they're literally walking and the woods are repeating themselves, like they're in a loop. But eventually they get to this kind of like a valley where they set up camp, and in the beginning there's a dog with them, but this dog kind of freaks out. It's like he's sensing something, and we all know that dogs and cats and animals in general, they are kind of very sensitive to the other things that are lurking somewhere. Yeah, so in the beginning they kind of set up everything, set up camp, and she starts climbing, I think on like a second day, and the phone reception is bad. Of course, it's always bad. And weird things start to happen, like little accidents start to happen. The things start to repeat themselves like in a loop. Like there's a moment when this girl is on this rock face actually climbing, and she's like, in her head she's climbing and she keeps going in the same place, but when they watched the video afterwards, it looked like she was just there for like a minute and a half just resting. So weird things start to happen, and there was so many creepy things in this forest. First of all, there's all the plants that were growing there. They're pretty much all poisonous, so it's really freaking there. It's very quiet. There's no bird song, there's no animals, they don't see anything, they don't hear anything. So it's really, really a creepy place to be. And you know, when eventually things start to happen, you know, there's a lot of very quite gory scenes, and very, like, the body horror in this book is really, really good. Some of the descriptions of the body horror literally made me cringe, and I love that. You know, this is what I want from a horror book. I want to feel like the fact that, you know, I can imagine the eeriness and the quietness of this place and all this stuff. It kind of like, it works for me. The isolated settings, the woods, them trying to survive in those woods as well. Absolutely love that. Absolutely recommend this book. And even the ending, I was like, you know, it's hard to say because you don't want to spoil anything, but you know, if you start reading this book or listening to this book, I've listened to this as an audio, in chapter 1 you kind of know how everything finished, because they literally tell you in the beginning, you know, they discovered these bodies in the woods and everything, and then during the story they tell you what kind of happened and what events led to what was discovered in chapter 1. So it was really well written, I think. It was easy enough to listen to. I didn't get bored at any point. I was at the edge of my seat. There were certain things that you're like, oh, kind of like, I don't know, I'm not sure about this. But I think, yeah, the whole creepiness of the place and the body horror that was in this book, I absolutely loved it. And you know how see, I wanted to say something, but that would be a spoiler, so I'm not gonna say it. But like, you know, when there's this movie, the cabin or something, when a group of people goes in this cabin and they drink this water and it's got this virus kind of thing, and they start going like crazy and stuff. You know, every movie, every horror book, when it comes to like the wilderness and stuff, when a group of people goes to camp in the woods and everything, they usually stop by a shop or a restaurant or a diner or something like this, and there's this one person that tells them, you know, this is like, you know, these woods, people don't come back from them, and da 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 da. And there was a moment like this, and it's kind of like, it felt like watching a movie. And in my head I'm thinking, like, you know, whenever I read or see a scene like this, I'm thinking like the people in the book, like, everybody knows. If you have read any horror books or watched any horror movies, this is a one thing. If a local tells you people don't come back from these woods, don't go there, don't freaking go there, just stay away. But these people never learn, and that's why they die. Anyway, it's a 5-star book for me. I was surprised that I actually wanted to rate it 5 stars, because some of the people that I follow here on YouTube, people that read horror as well, they didn't actually rate this book very highly. So I was surprised that I was really, really enjoying this book. Like, but for me, do you know what? It's not like I don't care about the characters, but because I do, but when it comes to a horror book, I'm after the feeling, and if I get that feeling from a horror book, this is a 5-star book for me. So I got that feeling, the feeling that I wanted to get from the book, and that's why it's a 5-star book for me. So I hope that you will read it or listen to it. I thought it was great. I loved it, and now I just have to figure out where I want to put it on a bingo board, I am going to go with 5-star read because these do not come very often. So I'm going to use this book for the easy mode, a 5-star read. Nice one. I'm going to go and do my laundry, and then I am going to, I think I'm just going to chill tonight, and my son is cooking dinner. And I am going to read. I need to read a little bit more of the Dragon Republic. I'm enjoying it. This is definitely more military. I mean, even Poppy Wars were military, but this one is even more military. I've read 126 pages, so it's not going very fast because I just don't have time. But so far, it's interesting. I enjoy my time with it. It's going slow, like I said. So I don't know if this vlog is going to be like a, you know, full book. I finished it, but you know, could be just a normal reading vlog, and then I'll just whatever, I'll see what happens. Yeah, okay, I'm going because work waits for no man or woman or a square or a circle. Okay, bye. Hello friends, busy day. It was my rest day today, and I kind of started with doing chores and stuff, and then I went to the gym, and then I went to get some trousers for work, and then I went to Costco. So I literally just come in. I'm gonna unpack the shopping. I need to put the laundry in a tumble dryer, and I'm kind of thinking I want an audiobook to listen to because I have finished listening to all my audiobooks. So let me see what is available. Oh my gosh. Okay, there's 2 options that I have that are currently available to me from the library. I also have physical copies of these books, so I think it would kind of be nice because I can tick off another book from my physical TBR, and also both of them would be okay for horror bingo board. I have The War of the Worlds by H.G. Wells, and look at this freaking copy of this book. What? Like, these are my colors. These are my colors. I love those colors. Bright pinks and basically a mishmash of different colors. I love this. So I have this as an option, and this is a edition from Livralia Lelo. When I went to Portugal, I got it as a souvenir. That's from there, from Portugal, very famous bookshop, and this is a classic basically. And then the other book that I have is Stephen Graham Jones, The Only Good Indians, and this is something about basically it's a creature feature. What kind of creature, I don't know. I see not horns, what the hell, what are they called, these things? Basically it's a deer thing. It's a deer thing. So I know it's a creature feature, and that would be good for my hard mode cryptid hard mode as well, because I actually don't know what this creature is. And War of the Worlds, if it was published first time before 1950, that would be a prompt for hard mode honoring the classics. Alexa, when was War of the Worlds by H.G. Wells first published?
Good afternoon, Honorata. The War of the Worlds by H.G. Wells was published in 1898.
1898. Okay, cool. See, it works. So I could use...
And here's more about that.
I don't need to know that. Okay, so I could use this as a for hard mode, honoring the classics, and then I think the next one would be this cryptid for hard mode as well. So I can tick off 2 books from my horror bingo board. So I think I'll start with this one because it's shorter. The audio is only 6 hours, and yeah, I'm gonna unpack my shopping and sort out my laundry, and then I'll just do whatever, I guess. we are again recording in a horrible light situation. I have finished. This was good. I actually didn't expect I would like this as much as I did. I have seen the movie, you know, the movie with Tom Cruise, everything is happening kind of like in current times. And this is actually happening in the 19th century, like towards the end of 19th century. So it's really strange to see the times this is actually set in. And also the other thing that I enjoyed is the fact that it was the action of this book is happening in and around London. So like I said, there are places that are mentioned here that are my neighborhood, you know, Edgware, Stanmore, Barnet, where I work. So I always find it bizarrely fascinating to read about those places where I actually live. So yeah, I definitely enjoy that. And when it comes to like the writing style and the language, because it was written in 1898, it is written in this old English. So this book definitely reads very British, but it's not heavy on that old-fashioned language style, so it kind of reads very easily. I listened to this as an audiobook, and the narrator did a great job reading this book, reading this story. It was actually very engaging, and I found myself very interested in what was happening in the book. Also comparing what was actually in the book to how the movie was presented to us based on this book. It was so different. I just thoroughly enjoyed it. I didn't expect it. I rated this book 4 stars, and it's such a quick and fun read. There were a few scenes that were quite drastic, but I think it's nothing comparing to like the modern authors. There was few drastic scenes, and I think they were drastic for that time. And also I can imagine how when this book came out in the end of 19th century, how scary it would be. Back in the day, I can imagine the idea of the aliens or Martians, like in a book, coming to the Earth and invading the Earth and trying to kill off all the humans. Must have been very, very scary for those people, knowing that, you know, there was no space program. The science, you know, was not as developed as it is now 2 centuries later. So yeah, it was quite amazing to read this. It's a really good book, actually. I would definitely recommend this to people. It's just over 200 pages, and the audiobook that I had was, I think, about 6 hours, but I listened to it in the beginning on like, I think 1.6 speed, and then I was comfortable with the narrator and I sped it up to, I think, 1.85 or something like this. I really enjoyed it, and yeah, I will be using this book for my hard mode horror bingo board for honoring the classics. My day is coming to an end. I need to go and take a shower, and then I'm gonna go into bed and read my Dragon Republic book 2 in the Poppy War series. And tomorrow, I think I need to pick up another audiobook, so I think I am going to start listening to The Only Good Indians. Yeah, it was my choice between those two today, so yeah, this one is done. That was quick. I was fun and quick. Good night. I'll see you tomorrow. Hi. So it looks different because I'm on a different camera. My usual camera's upstairs, but I can't be bothered to go upstairs and get it. Today I have started listening to The Only Good Indians, and my gosh, how do I explain to you how I feel about this book? So this is a story of kind of like 4 men, and 10 years prior they killed some elk. One of them in the very first chapter dies, and then we kind of meet the other guy, Lewis, and we witness how he mentally breaks down because he feels guilty about what happened 10 years before. The way I feel about this book right now is like, you sometimes, you know, you watch a movie and it's so weird and you think to yourself, what the fuck am I watching? But because it's so strange, you just have to keep watching and you just have to find out, like, what is this all about? So this is the kind of a book, like, what the fuck am I reading? I don't know. I think I'm just having a moment, but I did listen to most of it today. It's definitely a weird book. My gosh, I literally just came back from work and I was so excited. I mean, work was shit, but I'm happy to be home. But I'm excited because I have managed to read a lot of this book, Ask for Andrea. My god, like, this book was such a slow burn till about 50% of the book, and then afterward it picked up so much. I was literally on the edge of my seat, and it's like 290 something pages. I'm on page 228. So my plan is get the uniform off, get myself ready for work, shower for tomorrow, because tomorrow I start early, 6 o'clock. So get myself ready for work, and then I am going to sit down and I'm going to finish this today, because the tension that I'm feeling right now is, oh my gosh. I need to read this. I mean, yeah, I need to read this book ASAP. I have a job to do. I don't know if I will manage to do this today. I need to draw. I need to do a drawing for someone. And I'm thinking I've got about maybe 2 hours left of The Only Good Indians. And I was thinking I might want to listen to this and draw. I'll hopefully finish and then come back and tell you what I thought of the book. But I have also finished reading Ask for Andrea. I don't even know where to start. It was such a good book. I think it's one of my favorite books of the year. This book is about a serial killer, and we kind of follow the ghosts of 3 of his victims, and they kind of tell us their story, what happened, how it happened, and what they are going through. Also, we kind of have a look at the families and you know, the life of the killer as well. And for the first 50% of this book, it was quite slow and it was definitely a slow burn. And then when things started coming together, oh my god, it picked up and it was like, I was on the edge of my seat. The 50% of that book I've read today, because before I would like read on my meal break or whatever, but today I got to work an hour early, so I sat there for an hour and I was literally just reading, and I came home and I was supposed to do this drawing earlier, but I sat down because I really wanted to finish this book and see how it ended. It was amazing. It was amazing. It was sad, it was tense, it was emotional, it was heartbreaking. It even made me tear up in a few places. So definitely an emotional book. It talks about violence and murder and all these things and abuse, and the children are involved as well in a way. So it's really it's like the end of the book is literally like I was biting my nails. That's how anxious I was feeling. So yeah, it's definitely a book that gave me feels, and because I felt this way, it deserves to be rewarded with 5 stars added to my very few 5-star books this year. So now I'm going to listen to this weird book, the Only Good Indians, and see how much of my drawings I can do. I was going to say, I keep forgetting to mention this as well when I finish books and when I rate them. I will be using this book for the easy mode for horror bingo prompt, and it will be for Woods Wilderness, because most of the action in the book was happening in the wilderness, so I can use that to block out that prompt on my horror bingo board. Right, so it's pretty much bedtime for me, just in time, because I finished that book. I finished listening to that book, and I also done this much of my drawing. So progress. The worst part is always the bricks. So that took me a while. And yeah, so the book, The Only Good Indians, my copy is downstairs, so that's what the cover looks like. I don't know if I enjoyed this book. I think it's a book for I don't think I enjoyed this book because I don't think I understood it. I would probably have to read some other people's reviews maybe, but it was a story of a group of Indian men, Indian as like native Indian men, and 10 years before the action of the book was happening, they killed a 9 or 10 elk. Elk is basically a bigger type of deer. And then 10 years later, things start to happen. So one of them gets beaten up in a pub, but he sees something before he dies. And then another guy, he kind of goes crazy with guilt and grief. He keeps thinking about what happened 10 years prior and ends up, well, I can't say that because it's going to be a spoiler. So I can't really say much about this book because everything I'm going to say is going to be a spoiler. Basically, it was a weird book. It was one of those books, like, I think I mentioned that before. Sometimes you watch a movie and you think, like, what the hell am I watching? It's so weird. But because it hooks you, because it's so weird, you want to know what this movie is about. And it was a little bit like this with this book. It was about grief, revenge, feeling of guilt. Generally, it was a very slow story. There wasn't much happening. The way it was written, I think it was a second person perspective, like he walks, she steps on, something like this. I don't know if this is my favorite type of writing. It wasn't bad, but it's just like, I think this book was too deep for me. I think maybe I'm just not intelligent enough for this book. I've read it. Will I be remembering this book forever and ever? Probably not. I think it's just gonna go into my weird books tab. Like I said, I don't think it's a book for me. I'm not the audience. This was a little bit more of a literary horror. Definitely, it's not really. It wasn't scary. It was kind of like, it's definitely a slow burn, a weird slow burn. Yeah, I think it's a 2-star rating from me. I didn't hate it, but also I didn't really like it. This is as much as I have to say about this book. It will fulfill the cryptid prompt on my horror bingo board, so I'm going to use it for the hard mode, and that's going to fill up another tick off another box on my board, so at least that's good. That's it from me. I think next week you will probably see me finishing that drawing and doing another one, and hopefully finishing the Dragon Republic. I'm about 30, maybe 40% in, I would say. I'm enjoying it, but like I said, it's a slow read for me because, yeah, physical book, and I pretty much only read at bedtime. And on that note, I need to go to bed. I need to be up at 5 o'clock tomorrow. So good night. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up if you did, and let me know in the comments whether you've read that The Only Good Indians book, and what were your thoughts. Maybe you have more explanations for this book than, you know, than my understanding of it is. Let me know. I wish you a good week, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.